Well, fun. You guys have been really busy. I hope everybody opened your gift and saw the pictorial fold out of the 20 years. The communications office did a fantastic job in working that out and covering all the details. It's hard to compress 20 years into almost a pop-up, and obviously we didn't with everything that's going on. So I'm glad to be here with you to look into the future a little bit as we think some about the past. We think some about where we're going and the road ahead. And it's remarkable to just take a moment to celebrate 20 continuous years of IT at Indiana University. Many of my colleagues at lots of other big universities, they've been through lots of upheaval over time, big, massive shifts of the organization from one side to another. And generally, we've been on a very steady, continuous roll of progress for the university, including more and more parts of it, efficiency, leverage, deeper engagement with the edge. And that continuous journey, I think, has contributed so much to where we're at today. Now, one of our happiest people about 20 years of IT at IU couldn't be here today, but he does have a few words to share via video.
I'm Michael McGroby, president of Indiana University. But 20 years ago, I was vice president for information technology and CIO. When I first arrived here at IU 20 years ago, then President Miles Brand expressed IU's vision very clearly to me. He was determined that IU should be, in his words, a leader in absolute terms in the use and application of information technology. The crucial first step I took towards achieving this goal, almost exactly 20 years ago, was to form University Information Technology Services to unify nearly all of IU's extensive but uncoordinated IT resources. Now, 20 years later, UITS is without peer in higher education in the United States. You are admired and widely imitated across the country. Your efforts have been vital in providing the nation's best IT services and infrastructure to all IU students, faculty, and staff, and in ensuring that information technology both supports and strengthens IU's core mission of excellence in education, research, and engagement. Today, IU is without question a world leader in IT. We continue to be at the forefront of employing bold, effective, and efficient IT in all disciplines and every area of strategic importance to the university. I want to offer my most sincere congratulations and gratitude today to all of the dedicated staff at UITS, past and present, as you celebrate this truly memorable milestone of your 20th anniversary. Because behind all IU's formidable IT infrastructure and services are the people who power it. Your energy, dedication, and professionalism have been the key to the success of UITS and to the leading ways in which IT is used and applied at IU. Again, my congratulations on this 20th anniversary celebration and my very best wishes for continued growth and success as UITS begins its third decade of excellence.
So congratulations to us all for 20 years behind us and the road ahead of us. I see we have one node failing here in our, soft failures, graceful. That's a good thing to have. So we paired this 20-year birthday party with the annual Statewide IT Conference. Some of you will recall there was a time when Statewide IT would fit a couple hundred people in a room in Indianapolis. And gate count yesterday was well north of 1,200. It's become an event for all of IU, not just UITS, but for schools and administrative departments, for the students, for faculty. And I'm just so proud of everything that you've done in putting the conference together. This year we did In the Age of the Smart Machine, and here's a shot from the back of the auditorium. It was just beautiful in the work that was done there yesterday. I think I've had more comments to me from you regarding our two speakers yesterday, who I personally believe they were really at the top of their game. in helping us to stir the mind, to think about the road ahead. Shoshana, in thinking about, again, the smart machine and the role of power and work in the future. And Dan, as I said when I walked up there yesterday, it was the most formidable treatise on cybersecurity I think I have ever heard. The number one question I got last night at the staff event, other than who did the food, it was really good, was I think I need to see Dan's talk again, or can we read it? It was dense. There was a lot there. So yes, he has emailed us the text narrative that he spoke from, and we'll get the video posted as soon as we get it encoded for adaptive uses. So both of those are coming. I want to join Daphne's comment in just a big shout out to the crew that makes all of this happen. Here are two notes that I received yesterday. And I don't know if this is as loud for you as it is for me, but I'm getting a lot of noise up here. And one said, I was very impressed by the excellent organization of Statewide. Everybody seemed to truly understand why IU is hosting this event and what it takes to make it a success. That's from a faculty member. And a summary of another one here. The overall quality of the production was simply world-class, and it was an event to be proud of. This is the team behind the scenes. There you see at the auditorium. They decamped and moved all of that over here. That's what it looks like backstage. There is enough wire to reach from here to the ICTC in Indianapolis and back, and they pull it off with elegance. So big shout out to them for doing it. And I'm going to take also, absolutely, thank you. And in all the statewides we've done, we've had a lot of communication about them, and with the IT strategic plan, the second one, the visuals are great, but I'm taking Vice President's moment and prerogative. I think none have ever been finer than the beauty of the graphics this year. So I want to ask Maria, where are you? Did she go take down our node that was failing? Where did Maria go? There she comes. I want to give you this, Maria. You can just come here. Just knock those boys over. Yeah. I'll just give this to you. This is fantastic. I know it's for you and your whole team, but this one was absolutely outstanding. Thank you so much. And about last night, you may not know, but we do have photos. So it was a fabulous staff appreciation event. I'm so happy that we get to come together, have really good food provided by Traditions here at IU. The ICTC is a great venue with all the multiple floors. I got to walk around. I talked to so many first-year, second-year staff. One guy said, hey, I just finished probation last week. I'm like, well, good. So it is our great time of getting everyone together, and I hope you enjoyed it last night. So what we have to think about now is the road ahead. And I'm borrowing again an image that I used a few years ago when we talked about We Aspire. If you remember Statewide a few years ago, the wonderful video the communications group put together for Aspire. So we've knocked down 2 decades, and higher ed is probably under more change in a shorter period of time now than in any of the decades before. How students learn, the levels of funding available for research, what the public values, alternates to universities, these treaties that get written every so often, is a university education valuable? Well, I think it is. And so for us, in providing the technology that enables research and education, increasingly our engagement in the life of the state, what is the road ahead to 2027? And quite frankly, what's just around the corner in 2019 that we need to have our heads on today? So let's hear just a short video from a few members of our community and what they think will be important for technology.
There's that scene in Blade Runner where the streets are lined with big giant screens, and I think there's some component of that, but I think the things we think about as technology in our everyday life, like laptops and smartphones, will get smaller and we won't actually see them as much.
In 2027, I think that we will become more dependent upon technology. I know I have. Technology has opened up a lot of doors for me personally that I thought would never be opened. For instance, I never thought I'd be able to take pictures in my lifetime and post them to Facebook and have people actually say that I'm a good photographer. But that actually has happened, so I'm very excited to see what technology in 2027 will be like. It will probably be beyond anything I could imagine now.
I think in 2027, we're still going to have physical classrooms. We're still going to have people teaching in those classrooms, and we're still going to have students coming on campus. But the nature of what happens in the classroom changes as people work in virtual worlds, as they study online and bring those experiences together.
One of the things we've begun a small grant to look at artificial intelligence and what we're dubbed the autonomous tutor, for example. We think that through technology mediation, we might be able to get people from a place of knowing nothing about playing an instrument to a beginner level that then we can draw on regular human teachers to bring them to that next place. We think that society in general could benefit greatly from having more music, and we think it also will bring students to our school and build new audiences.
Technologies are going to start to really change the way we live, learn, and work. You're going to start to see more of this 24/7 kind of activity. You know, as faculty, we already start to see it. We get emails at every hour of the day. So how are we going to start to manage ourselves? How are we going to start to, really kind of continue to take the weekends or the evenings off? And so there's going to be a lot of increased pressure to kind of be always on.
When I'm in college, I think there would be more advanced cell phones, more advanced computers, like more access to different things that we want access to. But I don't want like too advanced technology, like too smart.
What would too smart be?
Like so smart you could take over the world smart.
How do you get services to people in need? And much of those services are going to be delivered electronically and through virtual reality where people are going to be able to connect and they'll be able to be in support groups with others as well as being connected to their professional social worker who's doing clinical services with them.
I'm really excited about where artificial intelligence and machine learning is going. We're already seeing the effect of this in our closed captioning services, that language transcriptions are becoming much more natural and they're happening at a much quicker rate. It's going to affect many of our students, including those that have disabilities or those that are not native English speakers.
If I could have any type of technology in 2027, it would be a virtual environment so that my students could go into a virtual hospital and I could facilitate some experiences for them that they may not get in the clinical environment. So an example of a virtual simulation we might be able to offer the students would be a trauma or mass casualty situation. These opportunities are not always available to students when they are in the hospital environment, but we would like for students to understand what their role is during that situation.
If I could have any kind of technology in 10 years, I would wish for a computer and a keyboard. If you type something into the keyboard and press enter, the object that you typed into the keyboard will pop out from the side through a little flap, and it would be edible if it was a food, usable if it was a thing, and just a regular thing. But nothing too crazy. Like a giraffe with blue spots and giant wings and laser eyes.
What's most exciting about technology's impact, potentially in 2027, I think, for the music school, is what Dean Richards talks about all the time, being more relevant to more people. We see a dramatic need for more non-majors, people who are interested in music, and probably non-resident people, people from wherever they are in the world who have an interest in music. And so how can we reach them in new ways?
The best thing that technology can probably do in 10 years is like build better rocket ships so you can fly to other planets that you've never seen. And that can include exoplanets too. And so that would be really fun.
All of the technology that we already have is invasive. We don't often think about it. It's invisible to us. And I think with the shrinking of technology into smaller form factors, that's only going to become more true. We need, I think, to think very carefully about what that means for who we are as individuals and how we share that with the rest of the world.
I find that a lot of the systems that people develop don't consider security as a fundamental principle. Instead, they're focused on functionality to the detriment of people's security and privacy. Developing systems in that way simply isn't ethical, and it's not sustainable. We need to seriously improve on the security features offered by things like personal devices, autonomous vehicles, and electrical power grid distribution over computer networks.
The thing I find most worrisome about technology is that if we are successful and we make all of these systems mission critical, we have to support them. And of course, security is the #1 problem, and that's not going to go away, and we spend so much time already. What happens if we're really successful and we integrate technology into every aspect of everything that we do? We have to keep it all running, and we have to keep it all secure. This is not a cheap enterprise. So this will be a lot of resources that we're going to have to devote to that.
So a little look, as long as we stay away from dinosaurs or giraffes with laser eyes, we'll be good. But it is hard to envision sometimes. Where will we go? How fast this is coming at us, and the responsibility that we bear for the whole of the university in partnership with the faculty, the staff, the students, to figure some of these things out. You can sure waste a lot of time and money on things that don't go anywhere. Everybody remember Second Life? You know, someone says, Second Life, it's all this thing. And it was cool to learn about it. But you had people, you know, institutions spending money and buying property and doing all this stuff. And, you know, someone said to me, you know, what do you think about Second Life? And I said, I don't know if Second Life's going to matter. Or I'm pretty sure Second Life won't matter. Third or Fourth Life may, but this version of it won't. So we've got a lot to think about as we navigate through these years ahead, and particularly with some of the guidance that Shoshana gave us yesterday. I hope that was eye-opening to kind of think about where we're going with this. So now let's get to it. So what do we do next? Well, there's a lot of talk out there. Every day you open up something talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the smart machine. And I think for us, and this is very consistent with what Shoshana said yesterday, I don't think it's about the smart machine and what it does to us. I think it's really about us being the smarter machine and using it as a tool for the things and the goals that we wish to achieve. So a book I read recently called What to Do When Machines Do Everything. And it's kind of a long, dry treatise. And one of the things it says is, will there be job displacement from artificial intelligence? Yeah, there probably will be. Will some jobs change? That you're still doing the same job, but now you've got some assistance. So maybe it's taking care of things you don't really enjoy anyway, and you've got more insight to do a better job. And how many new jobs will be created? Jobs that you really just weren't even there before. In general, it's like everything that comes along. We have to understand, are we talking about a substitute? We will stop doing this thing because now this thing has replaced it. Or are we talking about a complement? We will continue to do the thing we've been doing. We'll just do it in a little bit different way because we've got a little more support and a little more availability to us. And what are the rules going to be as we do this? Under what terms? You heard Shoshana say a lot yesterday about the concerns she has, and I think a lot of us do, and even in the videos a moment ago, about the invasiveness into our lives. So here's what we know for sure. We know that tools that we already have are going to get smarter and smarter and smarter. So just a few weeks ago, Box announced that they're putting a lot of machine learning and AI to do facial recognition and other things into the Box tools that we already have. So now we've got some new capabilities. Okay, where might that be useful for us? Let's see how we would skillfully apply it. We know we got a bunch of new tools coming. So if you've not done it or you want to learn a little something, go out to playground.tensorflow.org. This is Google's artificial intelligence tool, TensorFlow. You can go out there and you can learn the first principles of neural nets. These are technologies that date back 30 plus years. They've just been made much easier to use now, and neural nets are particularly good at classification problems. This one needs extra attention. This one's good enough. Just let that go on through. So think about using classification technology to help triage, say, in the support center. Where do we put most of our time most quickly? In the cybersecurity office, like I said yesterday, how do we allocate the cybersecurity staff to work on things that are real risks rather than chasing false positives all of the time? Now, as we go forward, there's a few more things that will draw on some of what Shoshana said yesterday, and I want to remind you as we begin making these choices. Now, this won't be groundbreaking, but humans exert behavior. Sometimes that's bad behavior. A lot of times that's good behavior. We're just trying to get stuff done. But then when you throw technology in the mix, really humans design and use technology. Our behavior, we design what the system's going to be. In our behavior, we use and consume what the system will do. Now, we're not the first to actually, come across this and think about it. It's called the duality of technology. It was published by Wanda Orlikowski in 1992, quoting Shoshana's book in 1988. And what the breakthrough for both of these folks in that era was, it's not an engineering perspective. We put technology in and we get outcome Y. But humans both shape what that technology is going to be and they use it. So is your mobile phone, is it empowering or is it enslaving to you? Does it enslave you because you feel like you've got to be checking email all day, all night in case something goes wrong? Or does it empower you because you can take off to head to something for your kid and you can know if something really urgent comes up, you still could tune in to help deal with it. So in this duality of technology, we see a really simple equation. We shape technology and technology comes back and shapes us. We often cite this very thing about our buildings. We build our buildings to shape our buildings, and then as we live in them, our buildings shape us. So here's the formal picture that is in the Orlikowski paper about the duality of technology. And I want us to think deeply about this, not her paper, but about the smart machine. As I said yesterday, if you take just the Bloomington campus, we're a small city. 45,000 students, about 15,000 faculty and staff here. If you take the Indianapolis campus, IUPUI, 30,000 students, about 10,000 faculty and staff embedded in an urban environment. In many of our regional campuses, the university plays a large footprint there. So we have a remarkable opportunity to think about the future of proactively shaping the technology ahead of us and shaping how we use it and under what terms. So I popped this by yesterday, and I want to review a couple things because I think these are the urgent next steps for us. So how do we evolve services at IU? Can you imagine today a student walking onto campus and us saying, oh, you need to do something? Well, you need to walk over to building X. Oh, no, I'm sorry, you can't do that. You got to walk over to building Why? When they're sitting here going, I can book an international flight with 2 stopovers in foreign countries on my phone, clear my visa and everything else, and you're telling me we can't do this. So the eras, as we've talked about, there was the paper era. We all went through it. Kelly documented some of it. We put some computers behind the service counters. People went to a service counter, talked to someone. I used to smile when I was enrolling. Hopefully that lady wasn't going to put me in that 7:30 a.m. section. I could get that 9 a.m. section of that class. Increasingly, this is where we're at now, self-service. How many of us are engaged right now in taking something that we work on and enabling self-service, a web interface to make a choice so a user can take care of that himself or herself, or we're bringing it into mobile. And as I said yesterday, I think the two frontiers ahead of us for the smart machine, or what we want it to do, it's not all the magic of what it's capable of. I want to make my life better. I want to make my life simpler. I want more of my time back. So delegation. What can I give that thing to do? I walk into my house, I say, Alexa, play some music. I have delegated not even having to think, okay, do I want AC/DC? Do I want Bette Midler? I just walk in and just like, I want some music. And if I don't like that, I say, play something else. So just delegating the task of picking music. If you fly Southwest, you know you don't want to be late to check in. Right? C is for center if you're late to check in. So you want boarding group A. Well, you can look at the clock and wait and click and hope you're going to get in there, or you can delegate the check-in to the machine. They're happy for you to pay them $10 or whatever, and the machine will check you in at the stroke of the time for the flight. How you still get B47 even when you do that, I don't know. But I need to be able to slip a 10 to the machine or something. So we want to delegate these things in our life that make it simpler. And finally, even more so, and that is anticipation. Like when I walk in the house, why doesn't music come on? I mean, if it looked at my calendar and it said, wow, he's really had a crappy day. So, I'm going to walk into my house and it's going to kind of have the right vibe of music. Or I'm going to walk in on Friday, come home maybe a little bit early, the weekend, I got some plans, it's got something better going on. Thinking about anticipation a little bit. So delegation and anticipation in all of our service encounters to the faculty, staff, the students, prospective students, parents, how can we rethink and reimagine services in partners with those many offices that own these services to make this better in ways that are valued? So I want to play again the two little short snippet videos you saw yesterday, but I want you to watch very carefully as you see those. What is the example of delegation? What is the example of anticipation in the smart machine? Let's watch a second one. This is a faculty interaction. Some of you saw yesterday.
Hey Alexa, at IU, how much money do I have in my Jetstream account?
You have 2 accounts with the Jetstream label, General Funds and Grant Funds. Which would you like to know the balance on?
Grant funds, please.
You have $789,055 in the account. of which $671,530 is already encumbered.
What's left in travel?
$14,090, of which $1,600 is already encumbered.
What are the encumbrances?
It looks like Craig Stewart has a trip planned. The note on the trip is meeting with NSF in DC.
All right. How much will it cost to attend Supercomputing 2017?
SC17 will be in Denver on November 12th through 17th, 2017. Based on your preference to fly United and stay at the Marriott hotels, here's my best guess, $3,400.
Cool. Please book that trip for me.
I can't do that, Dana. You're going to need a carbon-based life form for this. However, I can create the trip for you and route these details to your assistant.
So I shared that example with one of our distinguished faculty members yesterday. I was like, oh my God, yes. Can you do this? So are these within our reach? I hope. I think they are. I think these things are within our reach, whether it's a year from now or 2 years or 3. We've got a lot to work out. But what I want you to also think about is, what if we do none of that? What will it be perceived in 2 years, 3 years? Because you know the commercial market space is going to move with this stuff. When you're booking a flight, when you're interacting with Amazon to buy something, increasingly services. So the bar continues to go up in this. So I think we have an opportunity to be thoughtful and think about where we're going with this. So as we try to get our head around creating anticipation and delegation in IU services, there is nothing more important than step one. What is our goal? Is the goal valuable? We could come up with some clever ideas that a smart machine could do, and we put some folks together, a little modeling of some algorithms, use many of the services that are out there. But what if it didn't matter? We would have wasted our time. So what is our goal that would be valuable? What would help with student outcomes? What would help with students choosing IU relative to other choices? What would help to our faculty and postdocs and research scientists as they engage in what now are, just for example, our 3 very large grand challenges around precision health, preparing for environmental change, and most recently the work with the opioid crisis. And you saw Dean Pashner with the School of Social Work at IUPUI making a reference to how important technology was going to be, and he's very involved with that grant as well. So the number one thing is, and I want you to have your head around this, what is our goal? In the functional folks that you work with in finance or student affairs or parking services or whatever, what's our goal? Number 2, do we have the data and the policies to make this work? You know, machine learning works from training. So do we have 5 years of data on this? Do we have 10? Do we have 1 year? The data are essential to train the machine, and we want to understand the policies and do it right under which it can be used. Work on the algorithms. We got tons of smart students. This stuff is to many of our students as a PC may have been, or a mobile phone to some of you earlier in your life. You just took right to it. This is what they're working on now, a good number of them. And finally, what's going to be the interface? You know, I don't know if it's going to be Tom Cruise and what was the movie called? Minority Report? Yeah, we're maybe not quite here yet. But is it going to be talking to maybe an Apple Watch? Is it going to be, voice is going to be increasingly important? Is it going to be some sort of just showing up on a screen like we use it now? So if we can pick a goal, if we can check the data that we've got, skillfully work with some training data on a smart machine, and then implement it with some interface, and then learn, adapt, and improve. I think this is the loop we're in. So about a year ago, we started the UX office, the user experience office. Groups making great progress. The new Apply Online app, fantastic across all campuses. Some of their early really great work with Laurie Sullivan's team and others. I want to give some thought to, as we move into doing more around machine learning, how do we get the goals right? How do we ensure privacy protections and policies to use the data right? And how do we make sure we don't build a bunch of tinker toys that are throwaways, but we actually start to build a capability over year 2, over year 4, over year 7, because this stuff is going to matter a great deal. So as I said yesterday when we started, the purpose of this conference this year was not to give you answers. It was to stir your mind for questions, both in Dan's talk yesterday and Shoshana's. And as we move into this age of the smart machine, as she said, what's your vision for it? Remember, technology is a cause of human action. We make it. We are a consequence of technology and how it affects our lives, and we can shape this. So is it our vision to automate? Is it to gather information up for greater managerial control? Is it to share more information, informate more broadly, for people to be able to adapt and achieve their goals and things that they're working on? Or is it time to just transform into something entirely different? So I'd like to transform my housekeeping into something like this. We're not quite there yet, but we do see the foundational pieces. Just as we saw the shift from the mainframe to personal computers, from wired connections to wireless, to mobility devices in phones and tablets, the march of these things is continuing on and on and on. I should also mention, IBM put out its quarterly results 2 days ago. What were the only 2 categories that IBM was really up big time in? Mainframe sales, really, and artificial intelligence, machine learning, because the 2 go hand in hand. So we are entering another era. We've navigated through 20 years of technological change in service to the university. I am confident we can do it again, and it will take the staff of UITS, the schools and departments, across the faculty, students, and all who are involved, for us to be the smarter machine and shape our journey rather than being overly shaped by it. So let's be the smarter machine, and we'll hope to avoid a HAL 2001 type incident along the way. I hope you've enjoyed Statewide IT. Thank you to all the staff who've put it on. Thank you to our sign language interpreters this year, and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next year for, again, the 23rd IT Statewide Conference. Bye-bye.